episode of Beyond the Front Door is brought to you by Peak Properties in Cheyenne, Wyoming. With over 75 years of combined experience in real estate, it's our goal to help clients buy and sell and save by providing the information you want and the professional services you expect. Let us help you with your residential, commercial, HUD, income-producing properties, as well as vacant land and rental needs. To learn more, visit www.sellcheyenne.com.
So, how was your day?
I'm cold.
I'm cold
How about
too.
you? The wind is a little biting today.
The wind this week has been miserable.
It has been a lot. I will say on the walk this morning with Lola, it wasn't too bad. The wind wasn't too bad. And we were able to, that's how I can kind of tell if she's, you know, if we open the door and she's like, nope. And she was just fine this morning, but the wind is just like cutting to the bone today. And I'm cold, which is why I'm not taking my jacket off today.
Yes.
So
same.
Anyway, yesterday was awesome. I had such a great time with our guests yesterday, and it was just I'm so excited to share the stories.
I'm so excited too.
It's a lot of fun. I'm so glad we're doing this.
Yeah.
So our first guest was Sheriff Kozak, and I was really thrilled to have him on our show yesterday because, as you know, I've been working with the chiefs and sheriffs here in Wyoming doing substance abuse prevention for the last 8 or 9 years. So I've gotten to know all the chiefs and sheriffs around the state. And of course, I met Sheriff Kozak when he was the chief.
Right.
Which that's when you met him as well.
Yes.
And then he is our newly elected sheriff. When was that? Last year or the year before? Yeah. So it's been fun to see the changes that he's making and kind of how excited he is about his department. And it was just a thrill to have him here.
What I really like about him is just how real he is. I think, being married to a police officer, I have like a kind of a different perspective because you do like view these people and you're like, oh, he's the sheriff. But
Yes.
he's just a person, you know,
Yeah.
he's just a person. He had a normal story to tell us.
He did.
And he's funny.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was really good.
And he's he's so community oriented. You'd be hard pressed to find a community event that he's not at or supporting or doing. And you can tell that he just has a real love for Cheyenne, and that shines through in just about everything he does. So, and I agree with you, even in working for the chiefs and sheriffs, sort of the sentiment is that, they've worked their whole careers to get to the place that they are, and they are kind of overseeing law enforcement in that community. So it does, in a way, almost put him on a pedestal, right?
Yes.
Like the rest of us in the community kind of do that. So his story really was very refreshing yesterday to hear him talk about a mistake he made in his real estate transaction, and that he makes mistakes.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
And that just his story, especially his transaction in Colorado. And as everybody will learn, he made the trip from Arizona to Colorado and then to here. And he shares that story with us and his various real estate transactions and kind of what he has learned from them. And so it's just very refreshing, like you say, because he's so real, to hear real stories that all of us deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And you would think that the chief or sheriff maybe wouldn't be dealing with, but
I know.
As it turns out, they do.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he was a real pleasure to have on the show yesterday.
Yes. So we're excited for you to listen in.
Yep. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Welcome. You're listening to Beyond the Front Door podcast with Lindee and Rhea. We are real estate agents with Peak Properties in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and we bring you real estate stories that will inspire you, make you laugh, cringe, and maybe even cry. Come on in. We put the real in real estate.
That's right. Welcome, Sheriff Kozak.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for being here today. We want to start off, I guess, by just asking you to tell us a little bit about yourself. What you do for a living. And
I work for the fire department.
It's not obvious.
That's funny.
Yeah. So,
how long you've lived in Cheyenne, your family makeup, that sort of thing.
So I've lived in Cheyenne. Well, I came here in 2010. So,
okay.
Yep. I came here to be the police chief. And So that was what brought me here.
Okay.
And so I've loved it here ever since. So to be honest with you, when I thought I'd be here a couple years and go somewhere else, but the Cheyenne grows on you. So
I think
love the
Wyoming
area.
in general,
It does.
I hear that a lot.
Yeah. So we stayed and we plan on staying. Yeah.
Awesome. Where did you come from?
So I was in Colorado for about 4 years.
Okay.
I actually retired from the Mesa, Arizona Police Department.
Wow.
And I retired there to take a job as police chief in a ski resort town in Colorado, which is Avon. It's where Beaver Creek Ski Resort is.
Ooh.
And so I was there for 4 years and then was kind of looking for more of a conservative community. It was getting a little crazy there in politics in Colorado. And so I thought I was going to look for a more conservative area. And also I couldn't retire there because it was too expensive. So I wanted to find a more affordable place. And that's how we wound up here.
What would you say is from being in law enforcement in Mesa, Arizona to Colorado to Wyoming, like what are maybe a key difference in all of them? Put you on the spot a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So being a cop anywhere is it's the same job. I mean, people always ask that all the time. And, a cop is a cop anywhere you go. The same things motivate them. And really people always ask, well, crime must have been really bad in Mesa. And then what about here in Cheyenne? What's the policing like? And it's really the same because like in Mesa, you break your areas into small beats, right? And so the officer going to calls in Mesa is going to the same type of calls that they're going to here. All right.
Okay. They're just working that beat.
Yeah, they're working that beat. So it's all broken out by, people who live in that area. And so it's really the same job, really. Yeah.
I think I heard a chief out of Texas talk about how, like, what they also will try to do in those states is recruit from those neighborhoods then to become a police officer in that neighborhood, essentially, so to speak. Am I right? So, like, if there's a crime-ridden neighborhood, they try to recruit police officers from that neighborhood or people, like community members from that neighborhood to then join a career in law enforcement and then go back to that neighborhood and essentially make a difference where they're at. Anyway, I heard a chief in Texas talk about exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's always a goal. That's always because if you can hire someone that actually grew up here and lives here, we know that they're going to stay here. They're invested in the community. Sometimes we take a risk if we bring someone in from another state because, the wind.
The wind is both a blessing and a curse.
Yeah. So the wind, and then, after a year, they're usually it's their spouse usually that hates it. And they're like, we're out of here. We're going back. And so, so sometimes there's a risk with that. But here lately, we've been doing really good with recruiting from out of state. We've been focusing on areas that people don't like their jobs in police work because of the community pressures that they're getting. And so we've been recruiting from like back east, a lot from Colorado. And so they really love coming here to Cheyenne where they know the people, the community loves law enforcement. Yeah. And they really, really show that. They show their appreciation. And so that's been very beneficial to us.
I always say that if you are interested in a career in law enforcement, you come to Wyoming because you definitely enjoy support here and the environment is just different in other states. So
for sure.
It's a great place to be. So what's your favorite thing about Cheyenne then?
Traffic. So not a lot of traffic.
And what's funny is probably the people that grew up here think the traffic is awful,
That's
right?
true. Yeah. But hey, they should go drive in Fort Collins or Denver for the day. And then you really appreciate it. Yep.
Yeah.
I always say, like I tell people that want to be cops here, it's a great place to raise a family. Schools are great. Community is good. And if you want to go get mugged or you want to sit in traffic for an hour, go on down to Denver. Yeah. If you want to see people under the influence of drugs all over the place, go on down
to Denver.
Go to Denver. Yeah. So.
Yeah, smaller towns definitely have the ability to connect one-on-one with those that are in need and make a difference. So, absolutely. Well, you're here to share a real estate story with us. And from what I understand, you're going to share your first home buying purchase. Is that correct?
Yeah. So, so I was in Mesa, Arizona. I was a brand new cop. In fact, I was in training. It's called field training.
Okay.
And so I was I was already graduated from the police academy. I had an apartment downtown Mesa. And I'm riding with my first field training officer and just learning the job, And he was the one that told me, you shouldn't rent. You should, as soon as you can, buy a house. And I was like, well, I don't know. If my career is stable enough, I'm just starting. And, he says, no, you're going to, it's stable enough. Just buy a house, commit to it. And so that's what I did. And so the very next week after he told me that, I went out and started looking for houses, and I bought one, 21 years old. So
that's a big deal for a
awesome.
21-year-old.
Yeah. So, and I brought in, I was kind of worried, am I going to be able to make the mortgage and all that? So I brought in a couple of roommates, and they actually made the mortgage for me, the whole mortgage, just with 2 roommates. So it really, so I'm glad I did that. That was great advice, the best advice
So I would like to touch on that for just a second, because I have 2 sons that are 24 and 23 and have both experimented with having roommates and have not enjoyed that so much. But it does make the case for helping you, make your mortgage payment. But you must have gotten lucky with roommates and felt like it was a good living situation.
Yeah, it was. It's all, you got to make sure you vet the people. So I was lucky because my roommates were 2 Tempe police officers. So I knew they went through background checks. They were vetted. They were reliable. So
that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So did you buy a townhouse or a ranch style home? What did you decide to do there?
Oh no, it was a home,
a residential
home, typical home in Arizona with the tile, kind of
the roof,
and we put a pool in eventually. But then I met my wife, and of course, then hey, 2 roommates. You got a week to get out.
Go.
Yeah. So
that's funny.
Yeah. And then we bought our second home. We moved into a bigger home there in Arizona. And then we sold when the market was really good. And that's when we went out to Colorado. And I think I made a mistake there, because I really didn't research the realtor enough.
Okay.
And I think the realtor kind of pushed me into more of an expensive home than what I really could afford. And so I had to, in order to afford it, I got an ARM kind.
An adjustable rate mortgage.
Adjustable rate mortgage. And, that went bad. And so I was kind of stuck in that thing. And then I got the job here in Cheyenne, and I moved here and couldn't sell the house. And so just lost a bunch of money. So it was a mistake. Do your research, find a good realtor. It's really going to give you good advice, and stay away from those adjustable
rate mortgages.
Mortgages. Yeah.
And we tell people all the time, really make sure you work with your lender so you know what you can afford. Because like you probably could afford it, and then it kept going up.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
well, and
that's
then
true.
Even if you can afford something, doesn't mean you're comfortable with that payment or with that price of home. We talk about that all the time, that let's say, for example, you qualify for a $400,000 home, but maybe you're more comfortable at the $325,000 range, because depending on your lifestyle and the things that you have going on, you maybe don't want to spend that much on a house. So for sure.
Yep. And then the mistake we made there too was, so I was the police chief in Avon, small community, probably 15,000 population with tourists. So about 5,000 full-time. And I got a place in the town, and I didn't have to. I thought, I want to be with the community.
Where the community is. Yeah.
But the problem there was, since it's a small police department, I can't call another officer to do policing. So like I can't here. So I ended up arresting my neighbor for DUI, arrested my other neighbor for domestic violence.
That's uncomfortable.
It is. Yeah. And so my wife's driving home, and they're flipping her off.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the reasons too we left. My wife was just uncomfortable living in that neighborhood. And so we had to find another place to live. But so again, really do your research. Yeah, where you're going to live, and pick the right community. So
one of the things that us realtors, if people ask us like which area of town they want to live in, of course we just encourage them to research all aspects of a community, whether it's the schools or the neighborhood, or do you want to live near a specific, like your job or whatever the case is. The onus is really on the home buyer to take a look at where exactly they would like to live. And so from a law enforcement perspective, I guess my question to you would be, if a person is wanting to research sort of the crime in a specific neighborhood, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, so we on our website and also on the Shine Police, we use the same system that you can actually look at all the calls for service and crime.
Okay.
Just on the website, you can go look at the map. In fact, you can also get alerts if you highlight a certain area in the map. It'll email you when there's a call for service in that area. And so that's a good way to do that. You can also go online and look at crime history. But be aware, a lot of times the national crime reporting is 2 years behind.
Oh, sure.
And so to get the current crime, you really got to go to the agency and see if they publish that.
Sure.
And we just started the sheriff's office, so they did not used to, but since I became sheriff now, we do on our annual report we publish the crime rates and what things look like, and also it's live as well. If you go on the website, you can do the link to find out what the live crime and calls are.
Sure.
Yep.
And us realtors can send our home buyers there to take a look at that and see, which neighborhood is really going to meet their needs the most, for sure.
Yeah.
So
yep.
The one thing I've always found interesting, and Lindee and I've talked about this in the last couple of episodes, that our histories are in sort of the social service field. And one of the things in working with law enforcement, the experience that I've had sort of sitting in a chief's office and seeing an overlay of a map where if you remove alcohol and drugs from the crime data, how much the crime goes down, in the clusters, of course. You see clusters, of course, in a community of crime, but if you remove alcohol or drugs from the data and from alcohol and drug related crimes from the map, it really reduces the crime in the community. It's really interesting how much those two things can impact keeping law enforcement in business.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, mostly arrests are related to alcohol and drugs. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's very interesting that you purchased a home at the age of 21. We talk a lot or you hear a lot about this generation saying that they don't feel like purchasing a home is ever going to be a possibility for them in their 20s. And I think in Wyoming, especially, there is that possibility. Like, I think 20 somethings do have the opportunity to purchase real estate, whether it's a home or an investment property. And I'm always telling people, especially young people, I'm like, if you're going to rent anyway, see about getting a multi-unit so that you can still purchase and still invest financially into a property where you're not paying somebody else rent. And then using the same concept that you're talking about, which is, you put people in those other units and they help you pay that rent. And I just think it's it doesn't have to be different, I guess. Young people can still purchase right now if they talk to their mortgage lender and figure out a way. So I don't think it's very often that people are purchasing homes at 21. So I think I was, let's see here. I think I was 25 or 26 when I purchased my first home. How old were you?
I was 22. I had no idea what I was doing. But my mom told me to do it, so I did it.
But she was a realtor, so
yes, so that helps.
So that definitely helps. Good. So you've already kind of, I guess, said this, a piece of advice that you'd give to a listener that is considering purchasing real estate, and sounds like research your realtor.
Yep, for sure. Yeah.
And then the neighborhood.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Okay. Ask a cop, go drive around, approach one of the police officers, deputies you see in the area where you want to buy and ask them, it's just a good place to live. So
it is a good place to live.
Yeah. Cause we hired some new people coming from out of state and we're like, so you got an apartment where? Okay. Yeah, maybe we won't let you take your car home just yet.
Yeah, and there's definitely certain areas that have more crime or different streets that you get to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a good way to ask the cop and they'll be honest with you. So yeah.
Okay. Well, this is your favorite question. So
yes, if you could purchase a property anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
Wow. So anywhere in the world. I don't know. I mean, Hawaii, I guess. Perfect climate. No, the wind
There's no wind.
There's wind, but it's a nice wind.
It's that ocean air
it's the
wind.
breeze that you want. So yeah, for sure.
Do you go to Hawaii often?
I never have. So
you've never been there?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds like a bucket list item to
Yeah.
me. Yeah, it does. All right.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing your story with us. We really appreciate you being here.
Oh yeah, I just want to give you again, when people are researching crime, again, when you're looking at national trends or you're doing like city data, Lending Tree, this and that, like I said, they're always 2 years behind. And so if you pull up Lending Tree and you look Cheyenne crime, all these articles will pop up. Highest increase in auto theft and burglary in 2021 and 2022 as well. And so just a fair warning with that, that's not the case now. So crime's gone down again to what it used to be average before all that happened. So it kind of got out of control there for a while because the jail actually closed so the cops couldn't arrest people for property offenses or drug offenses.
That was during the pandemic.
And they kind of figured that out, didn't they?
Yeah. And the criminals knew they couldn't get arrested, so it was a free for all. All right. And they had warrants for the arrest, and the cops couldn't arrest them. So they were just free to just victimize the community, and they did. And they knew that. And we were the jail in the region that did that. So no other jail closed for the pandemic. And I'm not sure why they took such an extreme approach here, but as soon as I became sheriff, we opened the jail. It's fully open now. We welcome
open for business.
We have vacancy, always will have vacancy. And we'll make room for the criminals no matter what. So we tell the cops, just bring them on in. And we've been putting a priority on going out and arresting all those people that wreaked havoc in our community. So if you go on our social media, you probably see we have the most wanted. And so we're going out and we're apprehending all those people. And so that's why crime's going down again.
Okay.
So,
That's good.
When people do their research, kind of try to get current data if you can.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Good to know.
Yes, thank you. And then just a reminder for our listeners, we are real estate agents here in Cheyenne, Wyoming. And if you're a buyer or seller in the area, we would love to work with you. You can find us at sellcheyenne.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, also Beyond the Front Door on YouTube and Spotify and all of the other podcast sites.
You can find us for sure here in windy Cheyenne, Wyoming. Thank you. So our next episode is Connie Higgins, who is newer, I should say, to Cheyenne. And we had, again, an absolute pleasure having her on the show and her little pup, Moxie. Who was just a little doll in her arms the whole time that she met with us. And I came to meet her through a mutual friend, Stacy, who introduced her to me to kind of share her story, her real estate transaction, her jump story, really, in coming to Cheyenne. And what a moving story hers was.
Really, really moving. I loved her personality, how she told her story, and just, I really think the listeners are going to like that one.
I completely agree. And what I love about her and other people that are like her is that they've got so many ideas in their mind and so many balls in the air that they're juggling. And it's fun to see them just busy every day putting those dreams into action, and her sort of fearless nature in moving forward and choosing Cheyenne.
Yes. And that's what I was going to say, is this theme of the people we've had so far of just loving Cheyenne as much as we do.
Yes.
And that's what I think is so cool, because everyone has their reasons for why they love it here, and they've lived other places, but it's like this love for Cheyenne and giving back to Cheyenne.
Yes, the themes that have occurred so far within our interviews, I'm going to be so curious how those continue.
Yeah.
And it's been just an amazing experience as we talk about really the role that real estate plays in people's lives and in their goals and in their dreams. It's an honor to hear them and to share them with everybody. So,
Yes,
so stay tuned for Thursday's episode being Connie Higgins.
This episode of Beyond the Front Door is brought to you by Peak Properties in Cheyenne, Wyoming. With over 75 years of combined experience in real estate, it's our goal to help clients buy and sell and save by providing the information you want and the professional services you expect. Let us help you with your residential, commercial, HUD, income-producing properties, as well as vacant land and rental needs. To learn more, visit www.sellcheyenne.com.